Shalom, family. It's good to see you all here. So, what we're going to do is just go over basics about gardening. If you are more skilled at it, then that's great, but we're not talking on that level. We are talking at a beginner's level. Okay, this is beginners. You can get into growing inside and outside. I grow actually quite a bit indoors too, but that's like a whole different a whole different live stream. All right. All right, y'all. So I'm going to share my screen, and what I'm going to do is use Amazon as my tool to show you, like gardening tools and things you need to get, even looking for seeds for your garden. All right. All right. So before we even get started, I'm going to give you a link. Okay, let me post this link. What this is a plant zone map. That's a plant zone map. And this is what you really need to look at in the beginning to see, because you want to get your seeds in the ground when the ground is at the right temperature. That's what you want. So if you want to open up that particular website, go right ahead, because I'm going to have it open also. All right. All right. So hopefully you won't have any problems opening up that link. Okay. All right. Let me go ahead and share my screen, and then we can start getting into this. Okay. Okay. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Shalom, family. Shalom to everybody in the chat. Thank you, Jamal Bey. All right. Now, the link that I just gave you is the plant readiness zone. And this will depend on where you live. The ground temperature is a huge factor in when you need to plant. So all you need to do is locate where you live, and it will have like a color breakdown right here of the temperatures that you can use to plant in your area. And it will also tell you the first and last frost. Now, there's a lot of people that will just wait for that frost to come in the spring, and then they will start planting. But you can still put your plants in the ground. It's just that when you hear the frost is coming, you're going to have to get a plastic cover or something to go over your plants until the frost is over. That will pretty much, the plastic will pretty much save your plants. So whenever you hear a frost is coming, you just want to cover at least by nighttime. You want to get everything covered outside. Or if you're waiting, then you don't have to worry about any type of frost. And who knows, you may live in a zone where you don't get frost at all. So if you live in zone 10 through 13, then you don't even have to worry about frost. Okay. and it will tell you what zone. I'm in zone 7. All right. So usually frost will come between the 22nd and April 3rd. And it will tell you also in the first frost in the fall. So this is really pretty good, to follow. And if you don't know what zone you're in, I like this website because it breaks down each zone by state. So you can look up your state and figure out what zone you are in. All right. Um, in my state, some parts of New Jersey is zone 6, and some parts are in zone 7. And I happen to be in zone 7. So if you don't know what zone you're in, you can just take some time and look it up right now, and it should tell you. So if you're in zone 10 through 11, then you're not going to see any frost. So you virtually can plant anytime, especially when spring comes. So it would be zone 10 is places like Arizona, California, Florida, Hawaii, Louisiana, Nevada, and Texas. So you don't have to worry about frost. And zone 11, 12, or 13, if you live in any of those places, then frost is not even a factor. All right. So once you know what zone you're in, this is like the first step of it. So the next step, we're going to go over things like getting your containers ready, or if you're going to plant in the ground, you're going to have to determine that. Some of you may be fine planting in your ground. Some of you may use containers, grow bags, and those sort of things. And we can talk about that as well. All right. So determining the right ground temperature, that's what your plant readiness zone map is for. All right. All right. So now how are you going to plant? How are you going to plant? Well, you have to determine how you're going to plant. And another very important factor, you want to find the most sunniest spot in your yard. Or if you're going to be on, let's say you're in an apartment and you have a balcony, you want to put those, containers that you're going to grow in, or grow bags, on the sunniest side of your balcony. All right. And when you're just starting out, start out small. Always start small, and also grow the things you eat. Now, I know some people want to get those big seed, and we'll go over seeds and everything. You want to get those big packs of seeds. Oh, it comes with over 100 packs of seeds. Yeah, but what are the chances of you planting all those things? And do you like all 100 of those seeds? There may be plants and vegetables and fruit that you may not like. So I would say, just my advice, stick with the things you like to eat, even if you got to buy the individual packs. All right. So now I'm going to take us to Amazon, and we're going to look at containers. So grow. And you want the ones for vegetable plants. All right. So these are containers. These right here are grow bags. And some people like these because you can now position these on your patio, or you can put the grow bags on your balcony, and you only thing you need to do is fill it with soil and some compost and things like that you intend in growing in. So a lot of people like these bags, and they are good. and they are deep enough to grow your plants. So if your plants have a long root, they're pretty deep enough to even handle plants with long roots. And grow bags are actually the cheaper route to go, to be, to be honest with you. And you can get some that look like this, where they're pretty specific on what you grow in them. In this case, these grow bags are for potatoes and sweet potatoes. All right. Or you can get other grow bags. And these, as you can see, you got carrots, potatoes, and also tomatoes. All right. And some of them, you can grow a variety of fruits and vegetables in them, but they're good to have, and the nice part, because they're made of cloth, they absorb all of the rain and everything from top to bottom. So your plant really gets a nice amount of nourishment from being in the grow bags. And many of them are biodegradable. So over time, it is going to break down and start decomposing and going back into the soil. So if you're going to use these, like I said, the sunniest part of your yard, that's where you want to put these, or on your patio or your balcony. All right. So growing containers is perfect for people that don't have a lot of space to grow in. They're even good if you have a lot of space, but you don't want to be bothered with digging up the ground. Then it's good in that particular case too. So many of them are versatile, and you can plant a variety of different things, from even shrubs and trees in grow bags, along with vegetables, flowers. So they're very diverse. So the method that you use will depend on how you're going to grow. Now, if you don't want the grow bags, another thing that's really good are the terracotta pots, and I'll show you what that looks like. Many of you have seen these things before. Okay, let me put that in. All right. The terracotta pots are also really good for growing a garden in. So, especially if you want to separate everything, they're really good. And you can get these from small pots to big pots, you know. And the thing about terracotta pots, you can buy them in bulk. They're more, they're very easy to buy in bulk. If you want to, if you have like a window, you can get what's called the window boxes. Right? The window box, you just attach these onto your window and they hang. And some people use these also. They can be used for growing gardens. You can get the window box. All right, and you can get large ones. It depends on what you're looking for. You can get like a large, this is a large, you can get the medium size or a small window box. And some people like this because you may want to put more than one plant in it, and it's really good for that. They're really beautiful, I think, with flowers. A lot of people will have these for flowers, and you can just kind of mix them up in there. All right. So another thing you can use for growing your garden are hanging planters. And you can get these for indoors or outdoors. It depends on what you're looking for. So if you want to grow your garden indoors, you can get your hanging planters, the ones that are specifically for the indoors. And you can also get the outdoors, like this one is for outdoors. All right. And you can get some, and some are really for both. I mean, this is more like for an indoor pot for planting. And some people prefer these for growing their plants. All right. So it's another, it's another option that you have. And you can also, if you're really on a budget and you don't have like money to spend, but you want to still have a garden, then consider getting plastic pots. There's nothing wrong with growing in a plastic pot, by the way. And these are, again, you can grow, a lot of these you can get in bulk. Okay. You can buy a bulk of like 4-inch pots for 15.95. Or if you want the bigger pots, you can get those and you can buy them in bulk. This one is 24 for a 0.7 gallon pot. And these can be used indoors or outdoors. And you can see there for plant seedlings, vegetables, succulents, and cuttings. Some of you may know this, but you can actually cut from your tomato plant, and the branch that you cut off of it, you can put directly in the ground and it will grow another tomato plant. Okay. So some plants you can do that. Tomatoes are probably one of the most no easiest that you can do that with. You just cut off one of the branches and put it in the soil, and you got a new tomato plant. All right. So in this one, you get 24, you know, and this is perfect for somebody that may be on a budget and you want the garden, but you don't have a lot to invest in pots. And look at it this way. You can start out with the plastic this year, and next year you can be a little more extravagant and get, upgrade your pots. You can do that. So this is 6-inch pots, and you get 130 plastic pots. All right. So you have to determine whether you want the large pots or the small ones, and you can get multicolor ones. Okay. And some of them come with labels, so you'll be able to label each pot with, what type of plant you put in there. So again, it's just another consider. These are 1 gallon pots, and you get 12. The gallon pots are good, especially if you're anticipating your plant will get big, then the gallon pots are perfect for that. And you already got drainage holes in there, and it's got the saucer on the bottom. So it's pretty no nonsense. All you got to do is just put your soil in it and start planting. All right. So these aren't the only ones. You can also get metal pots. Okay. A lot of people like metal pots because one thing you don't have to worry about is the pots will break. They're not going to break ever. These things ain't going to break. And that's another reason why so many people do like the metal. These are great for patios, balconies, or if you got a windowsill and you want to grow them on the inside, they're good for that too. And these are usually bucket size. So if you want like a bucket size pot, and you get 8 for 16.99. All right. So some people prefer these because they're very durable and you don't have to worry about them breaking, and you can reuse them, you know, where over time the plastic is going to break down and you'll have to replace the plastic. But the nice part is at least the plastic is inexpensive, even if you have to replace it. All right. And then we already saw the grow bags, and the grow bags are also good, made of material, a fabric. All right. Now, fertilizer, I'm going to tell you all the beginners, don't worry about fertilizing in the very beginning. Just get your plants in the pot. Now, you can decide, and we'll look at some of the seeds. You want non-GMO seeds. That's what you want. Non-GMO seeds. Now, you can get like a variety pack. Now, some people do like these. I like to look at them. A lot of times I don't care for them only because there's a lot of things in here that I just don't eat at all. But if you want just to have it, there's nothing wrong with it. Okay, if you want to go this route. All right. So you can get like a variety of different seeds, and that's one way to start. Or you can get the individual packs of seeds. You can just type in, let's say, let's just put some in non-GMO green beans. All right. So you can look at the different varieties of green beans, and just based on that, most of them you can easily get for just a few dollars. And don't always believe, and I always try to tell people this, don't always believe because one is more expensive than the other that this is somehow better. Sometimes they're not. And I had to learn that the hard way. Oh, well, maybe if I spend this and not the 3.97, and then sometimes you'll get the $3.95 one, and this will grow better than the one you spent $6 on. I kid you not. So you can don't what I'm saying is don't let the price throw you off. Don't always believe spending the most money for seeds, you're going to get the best plant. That's not necessarily true. All right. And I had to go to the school of hard knocks on that one. Sometimes the seed packs that I spent very little on, I had the best plants from them. Okay. So you just have to look through and see what type you like. If you want like a shorter green beans, then you may want something like this. If you want a thinner green bean and you want the Mountain Valley seeds, the jade bush bean seeds right here. If you want a combination of like a regular string bean and you also want it to be extra long, then you want to look at the let's go back up here to the top. Like if you want like a long one, then the Blue Lake, okay, are good for being thick and also long green beans. All right. So, there are hundreds of different varieties of green beans. So just take your time, look through it, and decide what you can get. And look, don't be ashamed if you need to get the one for $1.99. So what? So don't put a lot of emphasis on cost. That's what I'm just telling you, especially if you're just starting out. And you will be astonished that the $1.99 will give you some great yield. Okay. So don't get hung up on price. We can look at something else. Tomatoes, another one that comes in many different varieties. All right. So you have to just look through these and determine what kind you want. Do you just want cherry tomatoes? Do you want, garden beefsteak tomatoes? Do you just want grape tomatoes? I mean, there's so many different varieties. You can get some that come out like a darker red, and then you got some that are a bright red. There are so many. The beautiful part about tomato plants, they just keep giving and giving and giving for the whole season. If you grow these all season long, once they start bearing tomatoes until the beginning of fall, when they start dying out, they're going to just keep giving and giving you so many tomatoes. Tomatoes is one of these things you don't need a lot of. You can get 10 to 30 pounds of tomatoes from one plant. So you do not need to plant a lot of tomatoes. I would say probably limit it to maybe 1 to 3 plants. You will get so many tomatoes from one plant. It's not even funny. Okay. So you have to determine, like, and it will tell you, like, this one is a low acid tomato. If you want a tomato that don't have a lot of acid, then when you put in your seeds, just put in non-GMO, low acid tomatoes, and it will bring up all the low acid ones. Because see, something like beefsteak is going to have a higher level of acid in it than something like this, which is a giant black creme tomato. All right. So if that makes, especially, with your diet and the kind of person that you are, you have to determine what's right for your body. All right. If it don't matter whatsoever, then you can just get the non-GMO beefsteak tomatoes. All right. And usually when you get the packs of tomato, you get hundreds of seeds, but you don't need to plant but just a few of them. You just need to get a few of them growing because like I said, if you grow like 8 plants, you're going to have so many tomatoes, you're not going to have the room for them. One year I had to give tomatoes away. I had so many. All right. All right, so you want to look at stuff like that. Another one we can look at are collard greens and spinach. Now, let's do spinach first. Spinach is one of these very no nonsense. Like if you want something to grow and it don't need a lot of attention, spinach is the route to go. One thing about spinach, once they grow, you just have to water them periodically, but this is a plant that's very no nonsense. It don't require a lot, like a lot of fertilizer and stuff like it doesn't require that. Okay? And they're very resilient and extremely easy to grow. So if you like spinach, it's probably one of the easiest plants to grow in your garden is spinach. All right. Another one that's real easy, that's very no nonsense, is lettuce. Lettuce is extremely easy to grow and maintain. And then once it grows, you literally can have a fresh salad every day from your lettuce. You can get like a lettuce collection if you like a bunch. See me, I like different types of lettuce in my salad. Then, getting a greens collection might be a good thing where you get different lettuce. Now, like butter crunch lettuce, I love butter crunch lettuce. I do. It's one of my favorites. Some people like the iceberg, and that's okay. And the romaine is also good. So this got like a nice variety. It got kale and it's got spinach in it, red romaine. So if you like, I like a lot of mixture of different lettuce, then something like this would be great. And again, lettuce is very easy to maintain. It's very one of those no nonsense kind of vegetables to grow where it doesn't require a lot of work. It doesn't require a lot of fertilization, and it grows and will keep growing and keep growing. And it's even easy to grow lettuce on the inside, believe it or not. If you got somewhere inside, you can grow lettuce literally year round. But, of course, once the summer season is over, it's not going to grow if you have it outside because it really does need the warm weather in order to grow. All right, and we'll get into collards. Probably one of the most resilient plants you will ever grow. You can, like I've had the giant collards, another no nonsense kind of plant. Once you grow collards, if you leave the collards alone, these suckers will grow all through the winter. That's how resilient a collard plant is. It does require a lot of sun, and it will, like, each time when you pick leaves off of it, the leaves will grow back in no time. It's almost like you'll blink and you'll have a bunch of leaves again. So you'll get quite a few pounds of collards just from one or two plants. You'll get a lot of collard greens. This is another one. It doesn't require that you have a lot of them in order to get a lot of greens from them. So if I had to do it, I would recommend probably no more than 4. You'll get a lot of collard greens from this sucker. You won't get a lot. And like I said, this is one of those plants that will grow all through the fall and winter too. And it really is very no nonsense, doesn't require a lot of fertilization, and it will germinate and just keeps growing. As long as you got 70 degrees or higher, this sucker will thrive. It will thrive for real. So, I would recommend that you just research. We can look at carrots also. Mm, Caps on. Yeah, root vegetables are good because one of the things that it got over other plants, it is completely protected by the soil. All right. And so many different varieties of carrots. Very easy to plant. In fact, if you have a carrot, if you cut the top of the carrot off that you buy from the supermarket, you can put that in the ground and grow another carrot. You literally can. Now, I have some people that will ask, "Oh, can I grow baby carrots?" Baby carrots, ladies and gentlemen, are just regular carrots that they shave down. That's all they are. They're not a special carrot that grows tiny, but you can get a variety of carrots that are short if that's what you prefer. And this is a good one, these little finger carrots. So if you just want like a short variety, they are good, but no, there are no baby carrots. Baby carrots are regular carrots that they shave down. All right. Or if you want a thick, long carrot, all right. There are a lot of varieties. You can even get the purple carrots. Um, and you just have to look through because there's so many varieties of carrots. You can get the red carrots, purple carrots. Some people like the different colors. You can get like a rainbow seed pack and get the carrots, the red, the purple. You can get the white carrots. You can get a variety of them. And this is only $6.99. You get 750 seeds. All right. And you trust me, you're not going to use 750 seeds in your lifetime. And I'm just going to click off and just talk to you about certain things right now. Hold on. Let me just get over here. All right. The beautiful thing about seeds, ladies and gentlemen, most seeds have a shelf life of 30 years. 30 years. You could literally keep these seeds, take them outside, and grow them. So when you buy a seed pack like that last one I showed you that have 750 seeds in, you don't have to buy no more seeds. You literally do not have to buy no more seeds once you buy that pack. So what you need to do is keep your seeds in a dry, cool place. As long as you do that, your seeds will survive every single year, and you can just take some out and a few out each year and grow them. But yes, they got a shelf life of 30 years. I have a small spot in my pantry that I keep my seeds in. So they stay there. If you don't have a pantry, you may have like a kitchen drawer that you can keep them in. They just need to be in a place that's not going to get too hot or too cold, and you can store them. So if you got a kitchen cabinet is fine, you know? Or if you got containers out in a garage and your garage is insulated, it'll be fine out there, you know? So, yes, so don't ever believe you got to buy seeds every year. You absolutely do not have to buy seeds every year, ladies and gentlemen. And then the more skilled you become with gardening, you'll start getting seeds directly from your plant. You'll learn how to do that. Like any vegetables that you grow, when you cut open the vegetables, all you got to do is take the seeds out, get like a towel or a newspaper, spread the seeds out so they can dry. And once they dry, just put them in a Ziploc bag, and those seeds are the ones you can plant for the next season. So if you do it that way, you never have to buy any seeds again. You can get it directly from your fruits and vegetables that you grow in your garden. So that cuts out right there. It cuts out buying, um, more seeds. All right. Yeah, don't worry about the trolls. I mean, look, their country is falling apart and they coming to troll black people. It just goes to show you, no wonder this country is going to completely fall, and they're going to just sit there and watch it happen because they're too stupid and don't have their priorities straight. Now, you see, America is not coming back economically. America is not coming back together, and you got a worker shortage, you got food shortage, you got all this stuff going on, right? But look at what's on their mind, coming to troll black people. So that right there, America's gone. Look at the kind of people they got in America running it. America's already dead before it's actually dead. don't worry about these people. They're too stupid to save themselves. All right, Cameron Charles, thank you so much for the super chat. Lisa, been missing your live streams. Glad I caught this one. I plan on growing pumpkins. Oh, pumpkins are great. And which is my favorite. And trying grapevine, which are two great things. Pumpkins, oh man. If you ever watch somebody make a pumpkin pie from scratch, my grandmother used to know how to make them. And all you do is once your pumpkin becomes a full size, you're going to get all the seeds, you're going to cut it, get all the seeds out of it, and save the seeds because you can roast yourself up some pumpkin seeds. What you want to do is clean them up, put them in brain. And once you do that, then you put them in the oven, spread them out on a baking sheet, and you can make your own pumpkin seeds. So once you cut the pumpkin, ladies and gentlemen, and clean it real good, you just cut it, lay it on into sections, lay it on a baking sheet, and then put that in the oven. Roast the whole pumpkin that's sliced up. And then it's gonna be soft enough for you to scoop out the inside, and from there, you can make your pumpkin pie from scratch. I mean, they are great, especially if you're really into, the pumpkin pie. Thank you, Isaiah Henderson, for your super sticker. The seeds are off the charts, and they're very easy to roast in your oven. Very easy. So, and if you don't know how to make pumpkin pie, there are a lot of people on YouTube. Just go to their channel and you can see it from start to finish. I know how to do it only because my grandparents used to make it and I would watch them make the pumpkin pie. But if you don't know, just watch a few videos. You might want to actually try it out yourself. Get a pumpkin this year and make your own pie from scratch. Yes, pumpkin soup. That's right, Deb Moore. Pumpkin soup is good, especially if you make it right. It's really good. Yogurt. Boy, y'all are really, I got some of the smartest subscribers on the earth. All right. So now that we went over some of the seeds, now just shop around. And like I said, do not focus on buying the most expensive seeds and believing those are going to yield the best plants. Sometimes you'll spend all that money and the plant don't do squat. And don't be ashamed to go to Home Depot, Walmart, to their nurseries. And if you want something that's already start growing, you can just buy a flat of different vegetable plants that's already grown. And if you don't know, just call your local Walmart or Home Depot or Lowe's and ask if the nursery is open. And if the nursery is open, you can just go up there and get your plants and then just put those right in your grow bag or right in the ground or right in your pot, you know? And the nice part about going there, they got everything and they got herbs. So if you want to grow your own fresh herbs, you could even get fresh herbs from Home Depot and Walmart and Lowe's, and or if you got a local nursery that opens every year, you can go there and get yourself a variety of a vegetable garden, fruits, and also herbs. You can get everything in one place. That's the nice part. Oh yeah, I love watermelon. Isaiah Henderson, one thing about watermelon, the hotter it is outside, that plant thrives. It's a vine. And you'll get, a couple of watermelons. And the only thing is, that towards the end, when it starts getting big, you're going to have to find a way to protect it because unfortunately, the animals like the same thing we like. So it's just a matter of protecting what you grow. And you'll learn that along the way too, protecting your vegetables and stuff. Um, the thing is now where I am, I don't get a lot of rodents or cats or dogs bothering my garden. You know what will bother gardens here? Deer, deers. All right. Another thing, of course, the bugs will bother if you have a groundhog in your yard, groundhogs will come into your garden. So the best thing to do if you know you got a groundhog, you need to get rid of it. There are um there are conservationists, or you can find somebody that deals with wildlife and they'll come out and they'll capture it for you. I had that issue and it he solved that issue for me. So they'll come out and capture those kind of animals, or if you got a rabbit hole in your yard, let them come out. They'll get every single one of the rabbits out of there. And so then that eliminates the problem for your garden. It's trust me, it's gonna be worth your money to get somebody to come out and remove those kind of things. Now, I have a pear tree. The squirrels do like the pears, but as far as what I have in my garden, they don't really bother my garden. But my pear, they love they love the hell out of the pears. They really do. And don't forget marigolds. Marigolds are good for thinning off rodents. So if you got in your area, rodents are a problem, buy some marigold flowers and plant them all around your garden. They hate the scent. And because they hate the scent, they won't come and bother your garden. You know, most of them, rabbits, squirrels, mice, they won't bother your garden because they can't stand that marigold smell. So just buy a bunch of them and plant them all the way around your garden. All right. But if you have those kind of road, just have somebody come out and get rid of them. And you be amazed they you may go years and years before you see even one more try to pop up. Now, I saw like a couple of about 2 years ago, because I've had Loretta for 3 years. There was a groundhog trying to come back. You know what I did, y'all? Instead of dumping her kitty litter out, I put her litter around the spot where I saw the groundhog. Do you know that sucker left and never came back? You know, the groundhogs don't like dealing with cats. They don't. They don't like dealing with cats. So if they can smell a cat on your property, they'll leave. They won't even stay because they don't like dealing with a cat. So if you got like kitty litter, or that your cat's already gone to the bathroom in, put that around the spot where you saw the groundhog. And I promise you, they're not going to come back. They're not going to come back. So that's another way to get rid of them. All right. All right, so let's move on a little further. So we went over some seeds, we went over containers, different ways you can grow. All right, and we're going to go over gardening tools and the kind that you are going to need. We're going to go over gardening tools. All right, just give me a second. All right, we're going to go over, and I'm going to go back on Amazon to show you the different tools that you should have for your gardening. All right, let me go back to Amazon. Okay, all right, let me share my screen with you. All right. Thank you, Mr. Mystical Black Realms, for the super chat. Thank you, Lisa Cabrera. We absolutely need this. Oh, yeah. I mean, this is not a problem. And I realize some of you are already skilled at your gardens. Again, this is for beginners. This is for beginners. Okay. So I know many of you may know a lot of things that I'm not talking about. These are people that are very, have not done a lot of gardening, or maybe tried before. It didn't work out so well. So, this may be an opportunity for you to try again. So let's go over gardening tools. Now, yes, you can buy some sets. All right. You can buy sets, which are nice. But I'm going to go over these individually. All right. So if you want to get a set, again, buying the most expensive one is not necessarily what you need to do. You do want to get one that's sturdy and strong, but do not think that you got to spend $40 because some of them are that amount. And you may get one for like 20 bucks that's also doing the job, you know? Like this one is a heavy duty gardening set. All right. $26. This is probably going to be good enough. All right. Buying something for 39.99, that doesn't mean you got the best tools. You'd be amazed, some of the cheaper tools, even the ones you buy out the dollar store, are good enough. you know so if you're going to invest your money, do not think you got to buy the most expensive. The most expensive is not always the best. Now, that one that I showed you, let me go back to that. You see how it got the plant sprayer, it's got the gloves, it's got the gardening tools, it's got the bag, and you're getting all of this for 26.99. You're getting the whole thing. All right. So, you may go into a store and they have a set, but that's all you're getting is the tools, and you're not getting anything extra. Just the tools, and that's it. So don't always think that you spend top dollar, you're getting the best. That's not always true. All right. So what you want to get, of course, you want a shovel. You want a big digging shovel. So if you don't have that, you want to get one. Here we go. So just get something like this. This one, something like this is good enough. Okay. You just need something where you can dig into the ground with it. If you're using plant bags or pots, then you don't have to worry about a digging shovel. But if you want your garden in the ground in your backyard, then you need a good digging shovel. All right. And the blade will depends. Like you like this one, you may want more of a round blade. You can get a straight blade like that. It depends. What are you comfortable with using? Are you okay with using a straight blade? So you can get a straight blade. Let me just kind of zoom in. Let me see if I can zoom this so you can really see it. This one is really the standard one. It's a short shovel, and then you have, your blade on it. You don't really need a long shovel for digging, but this one has a more rounder blade. You can get a straight blade like that. A trench shovel looks like this. All right. Or you can get a long one with a rounded type blade. So it depends on what you're comfortable with using. If you're okay with a short shovel, get a short one. If you prefer a longer one, get a longer one. But you need something for digging. All right. So another thing that you're going to need is a hand trowel, and I'll show you what that looks like. This is a hand trowel, something like this. All right. That's a hand trowel. So you're going to need something like that. And this is good for digging in small spots. That's what it's for. So if you got like a small area that you need that, especially if you got a small garden, you could probably dig the whole thing out with a hand trowel instead of getting a big shovel. All right. So for digging in small areas, this is what you want. All right. A digging fork. All right. You've probably seen these before, a digging fork. And you can get a handheld one, or you can get a bigger one depending on what your needs are. But when you buy the little gardening tool set, you get a small hand size digging fork. All right. So these are great for digging out weeds. They are also great for loosening up the soil. and for planting and getting an area ready for planting. So these are really good for, I use mine a lot to loosen up soil. That's what I use it for. Like, after over time, especially growing outside, soil will start clumping back together and you can just loosen everything up again around the plant. All right, so that's your fork, your digging fork. And you may need like some people use a soil knife, or you can either put it in this way, a soil knife, or you can just put in a gardening knife. Okay, it's really the same thing. That's what I'm trying to say. Because some people think there's a difference. Oh no, gardening knife. No, a soil knife and a gardening knife are virtually the same thing. So this is what they look like. Many of them you can get with, a stainless steel blade. All right. So this is good, especially if you need to cut roots or if you need to do pruning. It's even good for digging as well. But if you got hard soil, it's also good for loosening up hard soil. All right. It doesn't hurt to have these things. And again, you do not have to get the most expensive one. If you want to get one for under $20, there are some for under $20. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just showing you these as an example. So, just look through and find the one that's right for you. All right. So it's a gardening knife. Um, yeah, see, this one's $14.97. So you don't have to get, you don't have to buy, because some of them are like $40, $50. You don't have to go that high. Here's another one. It's got a straight pruning knife, and you got two in there actually. So you can use those. It got different blades. Um, here's one for $19. It's another one. All right. So, like I said, don't go overboard in buying some of these tools. So, the $19 one will be just as effective as the one that you bought for 30 bucks. All right, hand pruners is another thing that you're going to need. All right. If you never seen one, this is a hand pruner right here. I'm sure many of you seen these. Even if you don't garden, you probably seen these before. All right. So hand pruners, what they are shears. They're like using a scissor, very similar to using a scissor. And this will allow you to clip off small branches. Okay. So you may need these. Sometimes tomato plants will grow branches in weird places and you can just clip those off, and they can be used for other plants as well. All right. So if you need to clip off small branches, even on a tree, you can use these. All right. And these are hand pruners. All right. And another thing is a lopper. These are loppers. They have like a longer handle, but it's also used for pruning. So if you need to do things like hedges, trees, this is what you want to use. You want a lopper. So it's like the little hand pruner, but it's got long handles on it. So these are really good, especially for trimming your trees and trimming back, taking off branches on a hedge. They're good for that. All right. Let's see watch that. I said, watch the video so you can see what they're like. All right. And you can get these short, long. I mean, a lot of times if you're doing trees.
Hey everyone, how's it going? I wanted to show you today.
I
This
don't
is
want
one of
that.
my favorite tools around the yard, especially when it comes to
Hold on.
clipping.
I don't want all that talking. All right. So you want long handles, especially for trees and hedges and stuff like that. This is a lopper. All right. Now, if you intend on moving plants from one side of the yard to another, you want a wheelbarrow, especially if you're going to be moving things around. I have done this before. Get yourself a good wheelbarrow, okay, for moving things, especially if you're using a lopper and you get a couple of limbs off of a tree, then you can put everything in the wheelbarrow and move it around. You can use wheelbarrows to move around soil, especially if you're going to be adding a few layers of soil. The wheelbarrow really comes in handy. Okay. It can be used for a variety of things, even planting trees. If you're going to plant a tree and it's a tree that you got from the nursery, you may want to put that in your wheelbarrow and move it to whatever location you intend on planting your tree. So they're good. They're really good for moving things around outside, you know, as they're even showing you in this little video clip. They're really good for moving things around. And again, you don't need the most expensive wheelbarrow. All right, a garden hose, and you all know what a garden hose is, but I'm just going to show you for the sake of, we know this is part of gardening. Here we go. So, boy, they've come a long way with gardening hose. I remember when I was growing up, most of them were green, the green vinyl. Now you can get the flexible ones. This one's a stainless steel hose. And it's got the sprayer with it and everything. And so it's so many different varieties. It's not even funny. The only thing about the ones that are made of fabric, they're good. I don't buy these. I bought them one year and it seems like they don't last beyond a year or two. They will spring a hole and you got to replace it. So I don't buy these. But if you can, store it somewhere in the fall and winter, you may be okay. But even when I stored mine, the following year, it would just spring a hole. So I don't care for the ones made out of fabric. They are nice because they are more flexible, but you got to replace them more often. So I don't like that quite as much. But if you're okay with it, you get what you're okay with. Seriously, you get what you're okay with. All right. Here's like if you want an extra long one, yeah, a giraffe. You'll get an extra long hose. You could probably take anywhere in your yard, front or backyard. And these are they are usually those are the long ones, the giraffes. So you may like something like this. So I'll leave that up to you on what kind of hose you prefer because everybody got their own preference and what they like. All right. But just get yourself one that's good enough for your gardening. And here's another one that's really not that expensive, 1780. And this is a PVC garden hose. This one's pretty good. And you want to get the amount of feet that you want. So make sure because this one you can get in different feet. So make sure you get the one that you want. 100 feet. All right. So just get one that's right for you. All right. Gardening gloves. Always make sure your hands are fully protected. All right. So you don't want to just touch everything with your bare hands. So get a good gardening glove. All right. So the gardening gloves are great, especially if you're going to be in the dirt. So get a pair. This will prevent you from getting cuts, bug bites. You don't want to get bitten by everything out in your garden. If you're dealing with thorny kind of plants, you know, or some plants you may have an allergy to and you may get blisters from. Some people, you may have an allergy to certain plants and not even know it until you start getting a blister. So make sure you can protect your hands. You can get the long gloves, like these are good. You can get the long ones where not only are your hands, but your forearms are protected. Or if you're not so much worried about that, then you can get the shorter variety of gloves. Okay. And I would recommend that you get the packs where you get so many in per pack. You may get 12 pairs of gloves or 10 pair. In this case, this is for women, and you get 12 pairs. Okay. Ergonomic gloves. and I like it because these things are cheap to buy in bulk. It don't cost a lot of money. And like I said, you don't have to. This is 6 pairs for $9.48 right here. 6 pairs for $11.89. All right. So you decide if you want the longer gloves, you can get the longer gloves. All right. So whatever's comfortable for you, that's what you want to get. Now, if you are going to be gardening directly in your yard, don't forget the knee pads. All right. Knee pads for gardening right here. Very inexpensive. You don't have to get an actual knee pad. You can just get a big one like this one. Just something to put on the ground and you just use for your knees. So you don't have to buy individual knee pads if you get something like this, and they come in different colors. Okay. You can get something like this, or you can get like a knee pillow. You may prefer this over a knee pad. It's still a pad, but it looks more like a pillow. You can get something like this for your gardening. It's just made of fabric. You put it on the ground and you just get on your knees. All right. And you can clean these easy. You can just clean them with your garden hose after you get finished using it, and just just leave it outside to dry. All right. So there's so many things. Back in the day, you did not have all these options that you have today. All right. So those are the things that you need. And again, if you just want to get a kit and see what's in the kit for gardening, you can go that route too. You may prefer that over um, buying everything individually. And of course, the more money you spend, the more you get. But like I said, don't rule out something like this for like 26 bucks, where you get everything, the bag, the tools, the gloves, the sprayer. You got everything in there. You even got labels for labeling whatever you have planted. So don't rule it out. It may be worth it. Okay. All right. So really, just a lot of times, especially if you go to a nursery, it will have on the label how to care for the plants. Unfortunately, when you plant different vegetables, it's not a one size fit all thing. Some vegetables will require more watering than others. You'll have to do things differently when there's a heat wave. So, ladies and gentlemen, if there's a heat wave in your area, you can make it through with your garden without everything burning up. What I would recommend is you go out in the early morning hours and just saturate the ground all around your plants real good. You can spray the plant, real good, especially if you know a 90 or 100-degree day is coming. Get up as early as possible and get everything watered. You may have to go back out. Let's say it's triple digits in your area. You may have to go out again during the day, like in the middle of the afternoon, and water again. And you may have to go and water again sundown. And that's how you get your plants to survive a heat wave. Or you may just want to do it early in the morning, and then you wait for sundown and go out there again. It really is going to depend on the climate and where you are. Are you in a more drier climate during the heat wave, or you're not? That makes a difference too. So, in all honesty, you're going to have to play it by ear, but just know during a heat wave you may have to water more than once. Okay, you may have to go out there and water more than one time. So a lot of people are comfortable with going out early morning because a lot of times it's cooler on a day where there's going to be a heat wave, and just saturate the ground real good. Then you may want to wait until sundown and then go out there again and do it again. And your plants really should be okay as long as they got some moisture. You'll be okay. Another thing that you may want for your garden to hold the moisture in the ground is mulch. Mulch is very good for keeping a ground moist. So a lot of times if you use mulch, that also can cut down on the amount of time that you water. Now, if you're going to use mulch, put at least 4 inches of mulch around your plants. And every time it rains, the mulch is going to help the ground retain the moisture. And also, rocks. Don't rule out rocks. Don't think rocks are a bad thing. Rocks are another way of retaining moisture in the ground. So, just consider those things, the mulch or even rocks, small rocks. All right. So that is the basics. When you get your seeds, read the package. Don't plant the seeds so deep that they don't grow. So if they tell you just to plant it 1/4 of an inch, then just do 1/4 of an inch. If you can't measure that with your eyes, take a ruler outside with you. Take a ruler outside, and then just use the ruler as your guide to how deep to go with your seeds. When you become more seasoned at it, you won't even need the ruler. You'll know about how deep. You'll be able to eyeball it and know how deep to go with seeds. So if it says 1/4 of an inch, don't go deeper than 1/4 of an inch. If it says 1/2 an inch, don't go deeper than the 1/2 inch, because the seeds have to feel the warmth from the sun and have to be able to get enough moisture from when you water it. If you go too deep, then it's not, the seeds are not going to feel the warmth from the sun if you go way too deep in the ground. Okay, same thing with roots. If you are starting out, let's say you're going to grow strawberries and you want to get the strawberry root, don't go deeper than the recommended on the package. So if you want to do strawberries, you got to get those now and get them in the ground. And by June, you should have strawberries. And strawberries will come off and on through the entire summer. Now, some people will say, oh, after June. No, that's not true. It depends on the variety. I've had different varieties of strawberries, and they come in June and they'll come off and on all throughout the whole summer. And they will still bear strawberries for you. Okay. If you, another thing, compost. You don't need big compost. You can get a small one that goes on your kitchen top. And whenever you cut fruits and vegetables, just throw it all in your little compost jar that you have on your counter. And then you can take that and spread it around in your garden. And that'll give the soil even more nutrients. Now, I'm going to go there. If you really don't want to go this far and you really don't want to do all of this work because it just may be too much for you, and I understand we're all different ages, so it really depends. Many of you might have seen the commercials online, and I'm going to share my screen with you again. Let me share my screen. If you want a garden, but you really, maybe because of your age, you don't want to, be dragging around soil and all that stuff and digging, that might be a bit too much for you, then I would recommend, this is a Black owned company. It's called Torpedo Pot. Many of you might have seen their commercials online. I think on Phil's channel, he has them, as a sponsor. So you can get the whole kit. And it's very no nonsense. It's very easy. You literally just put the soil in, put the seeds in, and you're done. And you just grow it, and you can grow your vegetables. And it's very easy to use. And they got several different, and they tell you how to grow your tomatoes. And I mean, it's really very detailed, and this is a Black owned company. So you may want to go this route. If you want it to be very no nonsense and to the point, then you may want to do the Torpedo Pot. And at the same time, you would be supporting a Black business. So it's torpedopot.com. I'll put it in the chat, the link. All right. All right. So this is another option for us, especially for beginners. Yeah. When we moved in my house, we had a peach tree, a plum tree, an apple tree, and a pear tree. Now, I still got the plum tree and I still got the pear tree. The apple tree died. It was like half alive, half dead. It died. And the peach tree, my brother ran over with his car. So that that tree is no more. But you may buy a house that have, the lady that had the house before us, she liked the fruit trees. So she had 4 of them, 4 different fruit trees. So, never rule that out. In fact, I had to tell my cousin off. He moved down to Georgia and moved in a nice, beautiful new house. And he was like, well, it kind of needs more trees. So we were talking on the phone and I said, well, what kind of trees did you get? He's sitting on the phone telling me I bought a palm tree. I said, you take that shit back and get yourself a fruit tree. He loves figs. I said, get a fig tree. What are you doing? Take that back. So he dug the damn thing up and took it back. And he loves figs. I said, you're in Georgia. You can grow a fig tree. So he got a fig tree. He got a fig tree in his yard. That must have been about maybe 10 years ago. It's bearing fruit and everything. And he loves it. My uncle in Florida got a mango tree in his front yard. He got mangoes. And they grow big and everything. He got mangoes. But yeah, if you love fruit, ladies and gentlemen, don't buy a palm tree. Go out there and get fruit trees. Buy a cherry tree. Get a yeah, get apple trees. If you love apples, get apple trees. The beautiful thing is apple trees are really good even if you live in the north. They can pretty much survive. So do peach trees. You can have them in a hot or a colder climate and they will still grow. Get a pear tree, but get a tree that you can actually eat from. That's what I'm saying. Especially now that we're in these final days, get something that you can actually eat from. For real. Banana trees, if you're in the right climate, yeah, believe it or not, there's some in New Jersey. I was telling you, I went to a park that's nearby, and it's got a lot of wooded areas, and there's even a creek back there. I happened to look down one day, and there were a bunch of banana trees. I was like, I didn't even know banana trees could survive in New Jersey. There were a bunch of them. And you had to really look for them because they were in between, like, the other trees, but they were there. It just blew me away, and I was like, "Well, that changes everything." I didn't even think those things could survive, but apparently they can withstand even a colder winter climate, even in my state. But that blew me away when I saw that. Lemon, I had a relative that had a lemon tree. Yeah, and orange trees, and you can have all of that stuff, but get a fruit tree, y'all. Seriously, if you got space in your yard, it's going to take a couple of years before it start bearing some good fruit, but it's still worth the wait. I think so. It's worth waiting for real. I love apricots. Yvette, oh, I love apricots. I love when the season is here. I usually will buy them and I'd be eating the hell out of them apricots. I'm not gonna lie. I love fresh apricots. I love them. Coconut trees. My uncle has one of those too. He says he got one in his backyard. He got a coconut tree. The only thing about coconut trees, if a hurricane or a bad storm comes, you got to get those coconuts out the tree. Them coconuts can become a weapon. That's what my uncle have to do every time there's a hurricane coming in Florida. He's got to get the coconuts out of the tree because those things will easily go through your window or hit a car or hit a car window. Yeah, pineapple. Pineapples take a long time to grow though, but yes, you can grow a pineapple even from one that you buy from the store. You just need the top part of the pineapple to put in the soil. But it takes a long time for that baby to grow. Orange trees, yeah, when you go down south, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. Mhm. All right, so I hope this was helpful to anybody that never gardened before. That was really my goal, was to reach people that never did it before. It's really not for advanced people because I realize many of you already know what you're doing. And then what we will do is, maybe sometime this week, we'll go over fertilizer. But in the beginning, you really don't need fertilizer right away. So go ahead and get your plants. If you're going to go to Home Depot or Walmart, get your plants. or get your seeds and start planting everything. And as far as fertilizer, you don't need that right away. But we will talk about that another time because there are so many different fertilizers. You can get organic fertilizer. And, if you're more skilled, you can even make your own fertilizer. You can make your own. And we'll talk about that too. So maybe, maybe like around Thursday, I'll set up another live stream and we'll get into fertilizer. All right. And we'll also talk about ways to keep the bugs from eating up your plants, like using diatomaceous earth to sprinkle on your plants so they don't get eaten up by bugs. So we'll talk about that as well. And Monday, I'm going to do a live stream on protecting your laptop, your car, your cell phones, your tablet against cyber attacks. There's ways you can completely shield yourself from getting any type of cyber attacks. And the only reason why I'm bringing this up to you, ladies and gentlemen, is because Joe Biden put out there that he was going to cyber attack Russia. And Russia already said they're going to cyber attack America. So that right there means we got to protect ourselves so that our phones and tablets and laptops and cars, because your car is now a big computer. That's really what your car is. You can protect all of that against cyber attack. And unfortunately, now that, there's a war going on, you're going to need that more than ever. And I want to be able to get around to that as well, because it's really important now, so don't be surprised if America gets hit with a series of cyber attacks. I'm really expecting it to happen, and your equipment can be completely protected and unharmed through the entire thing. So I'll set that up once I get done with this. Okay. And then at 4:00, I got another live stream coming up about the word black. And we're going to discuss that. I know we all got our own separate opinions about that. So we're going to discuss that more in detail. All right. So I will see many of you at 4, and tomorrow it'll probably more than likely be tomorrow afternoon where I talk about protecting yourself against cyber attacks. All right. All right, everybody, please enjoy the rest of your day. All right. And take care. Shalom, family.